Straight up.
All right, welcome to Witchpolice Radio. I'm again on the internet, as we all are, because the pandemic is still going on, even though shows are starting to happen more frequently, which is
Yeah.
nice. So, people are getting out to see live music. And the guest on this episode is someone who has an exciting show coming up in the city. But before we even get to that, I think the best way
Yeah.
to start this off is if you want to introduce yourself and maybe just give a bit of background about what it is you do as a musician.
Yeah. So I go by the name of Lyberal. The music is dynamic. It's different. It's reggae based, but with a twist or with a different influence, right? And yeah, the show is coming up, and yeah, just tune in.
Cool. And
Yeah.
how long have you been doing this? Because I know I've seen your name around at a lot of the
Mhm.
local festivals and things over the past number of years. But how long have you actually been performing?
Uh, I've been doing this for a long time, actually, from a tender age.
Okay.
So I really have developed my sound from then. So it's really, yeah, it's different now. It's more strong, it's more uniformed kind of a thing. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And then, so I mean, I guess like the obviously the thing you're most excited about at this point is having this new record that's coming out, and you have a show at the King's Head to launch it here in Winnipeg. But what
Yeah.
can you tell me about the album? I mean, how long have you been putting this record together?
The album has been in the making for about 2 years actually. Yeah, so we finally got it to a point now where we could, kind of launch it, to release it, to let people know what we have been doing, because they heard one or two songs, right?
Yeah.
But the album wasn't complete, so now it is. So we're excited to have that to present to people for sure.
Has the past 2 years of lockdowns and restrictions and things like that due to the pandemic, has that, I imagine that's contributed to kind of the time it's taken to get this from start to
Yeah,
finish?
yeah. So during that time, I mean, it really gave me the chance to really, uh, focus and to get the songs out that I needed to get written and done. So
Yeah.
that was a plus for me. I mean, everybody faces that challenge is different, but for me, it was that was for me to do, kind of a thing.
Did he give you an opportunity to kind of I mean, obviously you could hone and fine tune the music during that
Mhm.
time, but did you find that you had any significant changes as far as your writing, or sort of the way you approached making music during that time? Because a lot of people I've had on the show, regardless of genre of music they play,
Yeah,
some people have been just completely blocked during that time, and others have kind of found a new gear and sort of found
yeah,
new meaning in what they're doing during this time off, I guess you could call it.
yeah. No, for me, it really started before that, right? Because we had a lot of things lined up before the pandemic. So when that happened, it propelled us, to go into a different gear, to like really focus. That gave me the time to focus, more on what I want to say and what I want to give people, and in terms of my music, right? And my my journey, and what I have been through up until now. So that was the thing for me.
Do you think
Yeah.
that this record and this release now, does this kind of serve as an introduction to who you are to a lot of listeners? I mean, I know you've been around for a while, but this is
Mhm.
you've had an EP out before, right? But this is your first full length, or what?
Yeah, this is the first full length album. Um, a few songs people might recognize from the EP that will be on the album, because it ties into everything that I have been through from, as I said, day one up until now.
Yeah.
And I know it's a tragic, or it's a tragedy for people that went through the pandemic. Everybody faced it different, but for me, it gave me that time to grow, and to really focus on delivering, writing, and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, it's nice to talk to someone about reggae on this show, because I've been doing this for 9 years now, and I've talked to
Congrats.
rappers and country singers and folk singers and punk bands
Yeah,
and metal bands and whatever. But I mean, reggae doesn't come up very often in Manitoba. There is a community for sure, and it's growing, and it's
yeah,
nice to see sort of that has been happening over the
yeah,
past few years.
definitely.
What have you seen? I guess as someone who's involved in that community, how have you seen things sort of develop recently?
Uh, it's still, to me, it's developed a little bit, but as you said, there's people out there that really crave for the reggae, because a lot of people take trips and stuff like that, and they hear different music, a variety of different stuff. So for me to come and present who I am to Winnipeg, it was like, damn, and on the receiving end, it was like, oh, it's grateful to hear that. So yeah, it has changed a little bit, but we still have ways to go,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah,
Yeah, it seems like
yeah.
it comes almost in waves because when I was younger, I used to go to as many reggae shows as I could. And in the late '90s, there were quite and mid '90s there were a lot of shows happening, and then it sort of
Oh,
died down for a bit, and now it seems like it's coming back up again with new artists, which is great to see. I mean, so it's nice to. I haven't been to a show in a while, obviously because
yeah,
shows haven't happened, but it's nice to see online and everything that there seems to be a
yeah,
scene being rebuilt.
yeah. And you know what? We had to really build that. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't really, as I said, when I came here, it was there a little bit, but it was like the seriousness of it is not. It wasn't there.
Right.
So the structure it was there, but the artist, the delivery stuff like that wasn't there. And I was like, wow, like you know, so I had to really bring it. Like kind of step up because this was from like back home, and it's what I do. What I
Yeah.
love.
Yeah. Well, what do you think
Yeah.
is sort of the perception, I guess, of reggae music here in the community? I mean, it's a very, it's a diverse community. It's getting more diverse year after year, and people are bringing all kinds of different cultural influences to what
Yeah.
they do and what they listen to and what they experience. But just in terms of a general audience here in Manitoba, what do you think that their sort of impression of reggae is? Like, do you think that there's a positive reaction to it, or do you think there's still some education to do to teach people sort of
I
what it is?
I think there's lots to learn from it. To be
Yeah.
honest with you, it's lots to learn. And if people would really give it a minute or a day to really be inclined or in tune with the music, I mean, it's a lot of it's dancehall and it is reggae. So a lot of words that people might say that I've got that too. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't understand what you're saying. So it's a barrier that we have to break, and sometimes but if you don't travel to all these different places, then the lingua is kind of different, right? So I think it will happen, you know and I think Winnipeg is a great start.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
hope so. It would definitely be nice for sure. So, what I guess are there artists that you are personally inspired by that you kind of not that you're trying to sound like, but that have
Yeah.
influenced you along the way, right? That have
Wow.
contributed to the sound that you create.
Man, the list could go on and on, my friend. But generally, you have Bob as you have like one of my favorite artists to me is Damon Marley, right?
Right.
Because I opened up for him one time. Long
Oh, really?
story,
That must
but
have been pretty cool. Yeah.
yeah, and I was much younger, still finding my sound, still finding my lane, still channeling through that, that lane to discover who I really am. But yeah, so yeah, it's so much artists because it's not just reggae that is influenced me.
Sure.
It's
Sure.
different genres. It's R&B. It's old school, the '90s R&B stuff like that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah. So
Well,
it's
and
not just one specific artist, I would say, because everyone ties into my influence and what I'm doing.
Well, I think that maybe Damian Marley is a good reference point too, because I mean he's playing root reggae, he's playing dancehall, he's
Yeah,
flirting with kind of '90s hip hop sort of styles. He's
yeah,
bringing all these different things together. I mean, it's obviously reggae music, but there's a lot going on there that makes
yeah.
him
It's
reach out to a lot of communities, right? So
yeah, and he's different, man. He's different. You know what I mean? And I really look up to him, not as an artist, but as an individual that principles and carry himself well and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
I like his music, and he's so diverse in what he does. It's like, damn, that's a
yeah.
you know,
Well, he's really
yeah,
good at every aspect of what he does too. It's yeah,
yeah. But it's all the artists out there, man. It's not just him. That's why I said the list could go on. I'm influenced by, even if it's not well-known artists.
yeah.
Just it could be underground music, whatever the case may be. But it's just influential to me and see what people you know bring into the table and what they have to offer.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
Well, as far as sort of the content of your songs, I mean, reggae I think has kind of a duality where a lot of people see it as just this kind of upbeat sort of positive music, but there's also this long
hmm
tradition of cultural content and political content and having
hmm
very kind of serious subject matter being addressed and
yeah.
serious. So how do you sort of juggle that? What do you sort of
Uh,
put out there with your stuff?
for me, I don't I don't pick sides, and you know what I mean. I'm not all about the political stuff and all of these things, you know what I mean. And I really don't want to get into all of that, you know what I mean. But I just want to bring myself to the forefront, and this is my music, and it's, you know what I mean, give a listen and see
Yeah,
where it goes.
and
And
hopefully
yeah.
you like it and follow
Yeah,
along. Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, yeah. So it's just really me and my perceptive or my perception of how I view things. You know what I mean? You might don't like it, but it doesn't
right, right,
really feel. Yeah,
right.
respect your opinion, and that's how it is.
Sure, sure. Well, I
Yeah,
noticed on your website too, you have I mean,
yeah,
you have this upcoming show at the King's Head listed as a tour date, but then you've got some international shows as well. You're playing a lot of festivals,
yeah,
and one of the things that's really cool, sort of over the past few decades, really, is just seeing how
yeah,
reggae has just blown up internationally, and all, especially in Europe. You see these big festivals, and there's tens of
yeah,
thousands of people there, and
yeah,
there's every country has its own scene and its own artists
yeah.
bringing different
So,
styles and things like that. So how did you, I mean, what has your experience been sort of going outside of the borders of Manitoba here and then sort of getting involved in the larger world that is perceptive to this or interested in this kind of stuff?
it's still kind of scary to really
Yeah,
go on a big festival and a show like that. I guess everybody probably have that feeling, right? But it's like, I started from here, and back then when I was doing my thing, I wasn't as developed and on this level of music that I am right now. So for that, it's not easy to do, but if you have the right people around you, the right team, the right influences, right energy, I mean, anything could be done, right? So for
sure.
me, it's like, to conquer some stages here in Winnipeg. That was my growing point, kind of, it was my growing point to present myself to those kind of audience, those kind of festivals
Yeah.
per se, right? So it was different. It was a transition that I had to go through, and it started here from Winnipeg. So I'm very grateful for that. Yeah.
So how do you I mean, how do you get to that point? I mean, obviously, introducing yourself to local audiences, and you get the
Mhm.
experience of playing, more intimate shows because of the audience size is just naturally smaller because of where we
Yeah.
are. But I mean, how do you sort of progress to then being able to play these big festivals and knowing that you're going to be introducing your music to a
Yeah.
much
A
much wider?
different.
Yeah,
It's just the confidence that
yeah,
you know that I have to build myself up to, and people here in Winnipeg has helped me, get to that level. To be honest with you. So it was, as I said, man, it's nothing easy. If it was easy, everybody would have been doing it, right? So,
yeah,
so as I said, man, it's just the right people, the right surroundings, the right energy, and stuff like that. And people are there to really see you grow and watch you grow and said, hey, man, you could do this if you really want to do it. So, Winnipeg has really given me that confidence, to be honest, to go in front of a festival, you
yeah.
know, and a platform, to be honest with you. So.
Well, and a lot of these festivals too, you're probably going to be playing on the same bill as some of your idols, I imagine. Like some of these
Yeah,
festivals have huge names in terms of the artists that are headlining and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah.
But
And it's scary because from a younger generation, you watch these guys, do their thing and
yeah,
conquer their segments and conquer their beliefs. And it's just weird to even be on the same stage that they're performing. It's like, wow, what did I even do to get here, kind of a thing. So it's kind of mind, boggling kind of a way. But I'm still grateful for every moment.
yeah, yeah.
That
That's good. I think that's probably a good position to have that humbleness, right? Like, yeah,
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 yeah, because it's like giants of the music, man, and it was like what it's I don't know, it's just a different mindset kind of a thing, and I have to be like, wow, yeah, like are we like, yeah, it's crazy.
yeah. It's crazy. um, do you think that, I mean, right now we're in an era too where the way that people consume music is so different than it was even
Yeah,
15 years ago, and
true.
now you have this possibility where if you make a video here in
Mhm,
Winnipeg, it can be
mhm.
seen by people in Germany, in Jamaica, in England, in really
Yeah,
wherever. Do you think that that's helped in terms of getting yourself across and getting you some of these opportunities, the fact that you can sort of share your sound with just anyone at the click of a button?
yeah, I mean, in that sense, you know that's what I'm not in the music thing for really just me. I mean, I glad that I get the opportunity to voice my whatever I feel and whatever
Yeah,
I've been through. You know what I mean? So for people all across the world to really, adhere what I'm saying, like it's great for me. You know what I mean? And even if it's one person that is influenced by, my journey, and could take that and assist someone else, then I think it's a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so man, wherever the music goes, my friend, it goes, man.
Yeah.
Whoever is being influenced, and I like what I'm doing, and I appreciate it straight up.
With this
Yes,
with this
sir.
record, this record that no, it's cool, it's cool. This
Yeah.
record you have coming out. What can you tell me about the album? I mean, I know you, like you said, you've been working on it for a couple of years, and you're
Yeah.
building to this release show and to
Yeah.
getting it out
Yeah.
in the world. But what's the background of this record? Where do these songs come from?
These songs come from me channeling from different countries, learning different cultures and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So even when I came to Winnipeg to adapt to the winter and all of these things, so Winterpeg. So
Yeah,
it's a great feeling, and they come from me, and this is my experience, and this is what I want to release. You know, this is my story. So the album is a journey, right? So each song is gonna have its own identification, like where it started from, where it ends, and where did this begin, and stuff like that. So yeah, it's different. It's just a channel that you're gonna go through. It's emotional. It's down. It's up. Yeah.
do you having that kind of personal story behind it? I mean, it's coming from you. It's your own experiences and all that being
Yeah.
filtered through the songs. I guess, like, how do you? What is the best way for you as the artist for someone to take this in? Do you want someone to sit down and listen to the whole thing start to finish and just kind of absorb it, or is it one of these records where you'd be okay with someone just flipping from song to song and getting them as individual pieces? Or I know you can't control that once it's
Yeah.
out there, right?
Well, you know what? I hope whatever song that they choose to listen to, the first one captivate them to even want to listen to more, right? Because that's what it is. It's a story. So if you listen to one, then you want to hear about more, then you might, okay, what does this song entails? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it all differs to different people, right? So it appeals to different people. So I think everyone has their path, and we're here to try to assist that in the best way that we can, kind of a thing.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So this show, it looks like you have a bunch of local artists backing you up as well at the show. There's
Yeah.
4 or 5. Who else is playing?
We have Tania, we have Neil, Dub City Foundation, we have Paul Reedy, we have Kendra, um, Chantel. So it's a mixture of different ethnicities, different vocals, different backgrounds, different music. You know what I mean? And that's where we all come together and make this thing happen, because music is not just for one genre. It's straight across the board, right? So
was that a deliberate choice too, to bring all these different styles and different people in there, so that there's kind of a mixed bag?
Yeah, because I like diverse. That's why I said it wasn't just about reggae for me. It's a different influence of different genres that really, develop Lyberal kind of a sense, right?
Okay.
Because we're always learning, and
and for sure, and then your style is going to just be influenced, even whether you want it to or not, by what you're going through and where you are. I mean, Canada is obviously going to have an impact on what you're doing, whether you intend it to or not, right? I mean, whether it's the winter or whatever else, someone's going to come through, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but it's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing. I glad that I have this platform where I can share it with Winnipeggers and hopefully the world at hand.
Yeah. Well, do you think it's going to be strange, after you played these big festivals and things like that, and coming back to Winnipeg? Is that going to be weird playing these smaller shows, or do you think that'll be it's like a different experience?
No, because it's for that experience. You know what I mean? You could come back and you know what I mean. You might see a different musician that like what you're doing, and you might have something to share from your experience. So it all ties into the music as well. So it wouldn't be a big issue. You know what I mean? As I said, this is a foundation. This is where, I mean, I started from before, but this is where it really propelled and created, really what's created to this level, kind of a thing.
How long have you been here in Winnipeg?
A little over 5 years.
5 years, okay. Well, when you got here, was there? I mean, I'm always interested because I've lived here my whole life. I'm almost 40 now,
Yeah.
so I've been involved in the music scene of various
Oh, you're a
styles for a
young
long
guy,
time, right?
man.
Yeah, yeah. And so, like for me, I mean, most of the people I know and I've known most of my life
Yeah.
are musicians, right? But as someone coming new into
Okay.
the community, what was that like trying to sort of, you're an artist, you want to get involved in the scene? Was it difficult to sort of
Yeah.
find your way, or was it very welcoming for you?
Uh, I I don't know because I didn't really come here to like do music,
Sure, sure, yeah,
but it was just something that it just happened, kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Yes, anywhere you go is gonna be difficult when you transition from, what I mean, where you're used to, your home
yeah,
base, whatever. Worse if it's not snow, you know what I mean? Or
yeah,
winter.
yeah.
So yeah, so it was a little bit for me to get adapted to the whole situation in Winnipeg and stuff like that. And but I've conquered that to a certain level. And yeah, it was it was not all that easy. But yeah.
Well, and
You
you
gotta
obviously
be
have a
tough to
support.
be in Winnipeg. You gotta be tough.
Well, and you
Yeah.
obviously have a supportive community behind you now, right? I mean, there is this whole scene like we're talking about that's being built and it is growing. So clearly, like
Yeah.
you've whether there were difficulties at first or not, you've found your place
Yeah.
here and found
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Found a love for this place, man. And it's great. You know, yeah. Winnipeg, man. I never thought I would have, end up in a place like this. But I mean, sometimes who knows where you will end up.
Yeah,
But yeah, I guess you have a greater purpose at hand than what you think you might want to do in life. So as I said, man, I didn't came here for the music, came here, just wanted a change for my place and whatever in the Cayman Islands. So it was just like, all right.
what is
And then
oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, it's just like music found me, kind of a thing, within during my journey.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was going to ask. I mean, about the Cayman Islands because I think a lot of people have this impression that reggae they associate it only with Jamaica, and I mean, there's so many other countries that have
So
developed their own sound. I mean, especially in the Caribbean, but even elsewhere. I mean, like England has a very
yeah,
specific reggae sound that is
yeah.
developed for decades now too. What was the music like when you were growing up? I mean, I don't think people have I definitely don't have a grasp on what culture is like in the Cayman Islands because I've never been there, right? So it's, I mean,
Yeah, it's diverse. You have your rock station, you have your reggae station, you
yeah,
have your R&B, you have your rap. You know what I mean? So it's a diverse place as well. So it's a diverse music. So we're influenced by all of those kind of different from a tender age, right? So it wasn't just reggae, reggae,
yeah,
reggae.
yeah.
It was different influence. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was Matchbox 20 and all these guys. you
Right, the
know,
same stuff that was
so
probably being heard here, and yeah, yeah, yeah,
you know
yeah,
so yeah, so it was a diverse place and music wise, you know what I mean. And yeah, so it wasn't that hard to like to write the songs that I write because I was always you know conditioned from a tender age, kind of a thing, like
yeah.
influence the music, yeah, and
If,
different genres of music.
if someone is hearing you for the first time on the show and they want to check out more of your stuff, what's the best way for them to hear your I mean, obviously you want them to come to the show, but I think it's sold out, right? The
Yeah,
but
sorry.
but where can they find you online? What's the best way to track down your stuff and give you
The
some
best
home?
way, they could follow me on IG to hear the music.
Yeah, to hear the music
Uh,
first of all. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so Spotify is there, Lyberal with a Y, Lyberal. They can find me there. YouTube as well. Same thing, Lyberal Music, or just type in Lyberal, enter. Boom, it's
you'll
right
come up.
there.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we only have a few out right now, because we haven't released the whole album as yet. So I think it's on the day of the show or after we should release some more songs and stuff
and
for people.
what is the show? As I understand, you can also watch it on Twitch or something, right? Is there some kind of
Yeah,
home
on
viewing?
Twitch. Yeah, yeah,
How does that
yeah.
work?
The Twitch part now, I think that it's on the website
Okay.
or the show pass, because they have the virtual and the actual what you call it, the actual ticket thingy. I can't
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
what it's called. But yeah. So
I know what
so
you
they
mean.
have the
I know
virtual.
you. I don't know what's
Yeah.
called either, but I know what you mean. Yeah, yeah.
So they have a virtual one also, so you could go on that and you could get more information off of that. And if you don't understand or anybody that have a difficulty in finding it, just Lyberal Music on IG. Yeah, message us and or message me actually, and we'll
Cool.
we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
And then I guess the Instagram and stuff is probably the best way to find out about upcoming shows and things like that, or what would you suggest?
Yeah, that's one, or the website, lyberalmusic.com.
Cool.
Yeah, they could find that out there as well. But it's a personal, intimate, anything like that, then you could, IG is right there. Yeah, you could find me on there, and yeah.
Cool. Well, the good
Any
thing about this,
questions?
yeah.
Go ahead.
The good thing about this being a podcast, right, is someone could hear this, the day it comes out, but they could also hear it a year from now, and by then, you could have new music out. You hopefully
Yeah.
play a lot more shows, so it's always good to kind of have the point of contact, right? So people can check
Yeah.
you out whenever they listen to this, whether it's right away, or they wait wait 3 years.
That's good, because the interview thing is kind of not my forte, but hope you understand. But yeah, even if it's a year from now, then the growth is definitely going to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I always challenge myself to do better and better and better. So yeah.
Yeah,
so
that's
even if this, yeah. Go
well,
ahead,
that's another thing I like about doing this too, because I've done this for, like I said, for a long time, and I often bring on artists, a few years after I first interview them, and it's so maybe I'll have you on again when you get a new release,
Definitely.
down the road, and then to talk about that growth is always very interesting, and
Yeah.
find out how people have changed and how their sound has
Yeah.
shifted and they've developed, in their careers and everything. So yeah, it's there's definitely value in getting someone at the ground floor and getting them when they're further down the path,
definitely.
right? Yeah.
And you know what? It doesn't matter if, like, for me as an artist,
Yeah.
I would try to accommodate wherever I can. Like, there's not going to be one person that is going to be left out. That, you know what I mean? So even if you take this information and you'd be like, okay, a year from now, and we could still have this after the show if you want.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
For sure.
Okay.
I came back.
I was just like, where did you go?
Yeah, and one of the challenges of doing this online is you get freezing screens sometimes.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I always make time for anyone. You know what I mean? Because
Awesome.
I think it's beneficial.
Awesome. And so what is the date of the show again? Just to plug it one more time before we wrap up here.
So it's April the 14th at the King's Head, 2022.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's where we'll be at. Doors open at 8. Show starts at 9. Let's go.